The lights dimmed in the arena as the final bell echoed, a tense hush falling over the crowd. Every spectator held their breath, the air thick with the weight of expectation. Noda stood in the center of the cage, sweat dripping from his brow, his chest rising and falling with the rhythm of a warrior who had given everything. Across from him, Koshiro Takemi steadied himself, eyes fixed forward, his expression unreadable but his body still trembling from the effort of the brutal overtime rounds. The referee raised a hand between them, awaiting the judge's decision, while the audience's murmurs swelled like an approaching storm. Flashbulbs popped from every angle, capturing a moment that was already destined for history. Noda's corner shouted words of encouragement, their voices a blend of pride and anxiety. Takemi's team stood silently, their eyes betraying both hope and resignation. The announcer stepped forward, microphone in hand, his voice carrying the electricity of the night. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, the crowd erupting before quickly falling silent again. After an intense overtime battle, Noda's heart pounded as he stared at the canvas, replaying every strike, every clinch, every second of the grueling fight. Takemi tilted his head slightly, his breathing sharp, his mind a whirlwind of memories from the fight they had just waged. "Your winner, by unanimous decision." The pause stretched, endless and deafening. Noda. The arena exploded, cheers crashing like waves against the cage. Noda's knees buckled as a flood of emotion overtook him. Tears welled in his eyes, hot and unstoppable, streaking down his bruised face. He raised his fists to the ceiling, the roar of the crowd washing over him like a cleansing storm. Takemi, ever the warrior, nodded with a faint smile, acknowledging the triumph of his opponent. The referee lifted Noda's arm high, the shimmer of the championship belt glinting under the bright lights. For the first time in BreakingDown history, the flyweight division had its champion. Noda clutched the belt as if it were a piece of his own soul, the culmination of years of sacrifice. The crowd chanted his name, a rhythm that matched the beating of his heart. Reporters rushed to the cage side, microphones and cameras capturing every tear, every breath, every fragment of this victory. Noda's voice cracked as he finally spoke, words carried on the edge of sobs. This is for everyone who believed in me," he said, the microphone trembling in his hand. He scanned the sea of faces, seeing family, friends, and countless fans who had followed his journey. "I trained for this moment when no one else was watching," he continued, his tears glistening under the lights. "I failed so many times, but I refused to give up." The audience roared their approval, a wave of emotion surging back toward him. Koshiro Takemi stepped forward, offering his hand. Noda clasped it firmly, two warriors bound by the respect only a shared battle can forge. "You fought like a true champion," Takemi said softly, his voice almost lost amid the cheers. Noda nodded, gratitude filling his tired eyes. The belt was fastened around his waist, the weight of gold and leather a symbol of endless perseverance. He raised it high, the crowd's thunderous applause shaking the rafters. Photographers snapped a flurry of images that would define this historic night. Every scar, every bruise on Noda's body told the story of a man who had walked through fire. His coaches embraced him, their faces wet with tears of their own. The arena lights reflected off the championship belt, a beacon of triumph in the haze of sweat and emotion. Fans shouted his name in unison, a chant that seemed to vibrate through the very floor. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the sound envelop him. This was not just a victory. It was redemption. It was the answer to every doubt, every sleepless night, every aching muscle. It was the culmination of dreams once whispered in quiet gyms, now shouted from the rafters. As the celebration continued, Noda's thoughts drifted to the long road that had led here. The early mornings when the world was still dark. The endless sparring sessions that left him battered but unbroken. The sacrifices of family and friends who believed even when the path seemed impossible. The bitter losses that nearly made him quit. And the voice inside that always said, "Keep going." Tonight, all of it made sense. Tonight, Noda stood as the first flyweight champion in BreakingDown history. And as he gazed at the roaring crowd, tears still streaking his face, he knew this was only the beginning of a legacy that would echo far beyond the cage.